welcome to Previously on X-Men, the podcast that looks at X-Men comics, movies, shows, characters, and more. Today, we're going to be covering the Season 2 finale of X-Men, the animated series, Reunion Parts 1 and 2. And I have with me today...
Eric Mickles!
That was your cue, Eric!
I think I took it.
Took a second.
It was a brief second. You know, it was basically an SNL cue.
I don't know what that means.
It means you gave me the cue and I showed up about 2 seconds too late.
Is that a no?
Maybe I said the joke while the audience was still clapping.
Yes, a common failure. All right, yeah, we're talking about these last two episodes of season 2. They originally aired in February of 1994 on the 12th and the 19th. Part 1 was written by, do you know, Eric?
Len Wein.
Yeah, what do we know about Len Wein?
He created Wolverine.
He did.
And technically the all new X-Men's.
Oh yeah.
So with Dave Cockrum. So our Storm and our Colossus and our Nightcrawler.
So
he was there. Yeah. I forget how many issues he wrote post Giant Size. I think he wrote 2. I might be very wrong about that. Maybe it was just Giant Size, but I felt like he did a few issues and then he's like, Claremont, you do it, kid. Claremont's like, kid. Yeah, Claremont was like, just kidding. I've never been a kid. I've always been a 50-year-old man.
I imagine that he called him kid. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I knew when I saw it was Len Wein, I was like, he created Wolverine. What else did he do? I'll just ask Eric.
He did other stuff, yeah. Know. Yeah. He had a pretty big impact on Swamp Thing.
Okay.
Was he the creator of Swamp Thing? Yeah, I don't think Swamp Thing would be your jam.
Not my jam. Is it magic-y or is it horror-y?
It's both.
Okay, well, I don't love either of those things. Magic sometimes.
Yeah, Kendra would see me reading pages of Swamp Thing and be like, this is gross. And then she would look away. But then she would have to look back because it was so gross.
How would you imagine that Swamp Thing would be gross?
Right.
I saw the creature from the Black Lagoon in 6th grade. Is that similar?
They're made out of different material. Swamp Thing's really just made out of whatever's in the swamp.
Okay.
So there's probably some crocodile poop.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
In Swamp Thing. That's why he's gross.
Isn't he a romantic character? Aren't there romances?
Yeah. You can love someone even if they're a little gross.
Well, crocodile poop is kind of next level.
It's more like in his spleen. Yeah, that's Len Wein's contribution to the show.
Thank you, Len Wein.
Michael Edens wrote the second one, he's one of the people on staff.
That was a little dismissive, Eric.
No, I'm just saying he's not like this guest. I wonder how they just get Len Wein to just come in. He's like, yeah, I can write for your X-Men show. I've done this before.
Well, I sort of imagined it would be a Wolverine episode or something.
Yeah.
It was just...
And it's funny.
For finale, it was very cool. So
it's funny because Wolverine is in part 1, but part 2 is much more of a Wolverine showcase.
That is true. That's true, and he didn't write that part.
He didn't write that one. Michael Edens also wrote part 1 of Time Fugitives.
Ah, yes.
So, yeah, it's still strange to me to see they have a writer for part 1 and then a different writer for part 2. You'd really think you'd get the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it one person does the story?
I don't know.
And then they split the script writing?
Because they're different style of episodes. Because part 2 is the big explosive finale with all this fighting and stuff. So do you bring in a Michael Edens for that?
You got to have a Michael Edens for something like that.
Yeah.
But they were both directed by Larry Houston, so he's probably in charge of making sure they have the cohesive.
Yeah, and Larry Houston has gone on record himself as saying whenever he could, he'd put in cameos of different characters.
Oh boy, well,
this
was the episode.
There are so many characters.
Holy cow.
If you're not a fan of the Mutates, well, buddy, I feel sorry for you.
Who's not a fan of the Mutates? Come on. Yeah. When did we first see them? They were on an island or something.
No, the Mutates,
not the Mutates
themselves? You're thinking of the Nasty
Boys. Yeah, those guys.
The Nasty Boys were in that part 1 and part 2, the To Death Do Us part.
Yes.
1. But we've seen the different, Magneto and Xavier would be walking through the woods and Vertigo would show up. They'd be walking through the jungle, and then Barbaros is just we've been seeing them in pieces. This is the first time we get to see all the Mutates together.
Yeah, that was an interesting way for the very first episode to start. I thought that was cool because the previously on X-Men
was all Savage Land.
It was all Savage Land because that's all just been sort of little pieces here and there. And now you know what? We're doing it.
when I watched this stuff before, like either watching it on TV or watching it when the DVDs came out, I really do remember the Savage Land stuff taking up so much more time.
Well, it was probably
But
just captivating your attention as.
I guess, but when we were watching it, it's really just like so thrown. It feels kind of thrown together at times,
Yeah.
and then some episodes didn't have it, and it took like I didn't even realize it until the next episode.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, where have they been this whole time?
Yeah, maybe if we were like binging the whole thing, like if this was like a 2-sitting view of the second season, it'd feel like a lot of Savage Land.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it did when they throw it all together. I mean, it's possible that that was almost all of
The whole thing,
footage
yeah.
in that previously.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you did every Savage Land bit in one big mega mix, it's probably like one episode.
Oh,
but here's the thing. It starts like when this episode started, I couldn't remember where we left Magneto and Xavier.
Yeah, I
like
couldn't
what they
either.
were the last thing they did. But also, we find out they're just going back to the plane. And I was kind of mad. I'm like, all that walking through the Savage Land just to go back to the plane?
I know. Well, did they not start at the plane?
Right, and then they fell in an avalanche, and then they fell in some water.
That they were just heading back.
But they went to the Citadel at one point. He's like, that's my Citadel. And they were dealing with pterodactyls and all this stuff. I guess I didn't realize they were just trying to get back to Xavier's plane.
Yeah, the whole time. The epic journey to get back to home, please. Let us.
The Sky Riders attack them? As
So
Magneto calls them?
After the credits, it starts with them climbing. It's Magneto
Having a bit,
and Xavier,
just
bare
riffing.
hand, climbing just like a rock face.
Yep. Just riffing about the whole process, like, oh, how far to go? Oh, I wouldn't tell you if I knew.
We're
you don't want to know. You can tip me, but don't tip me over.
And then they're attacked by Sky Flyers?
He calls them Sky Flyers, or was it Sky Riders?
Sky Riders. Sky Flyers is too redundant.
Yeah, I mean,
Sky Riders.
but it seems like these Sky Riders are really bad at their job because this is just two people without powers just hanging on to bare cliff rock.
Oh yeah.
And the Sky Riders get taken down because Xavier throws a rock at one, and Magneto finds a branch and does like a somersault kick.
Oh, did he? I missed that. I didn't.
Yeah,
see
he does like one of those video game grab a pole and swing into the sky, and then all three of them go down, even though only two got hit.
I liked the reaction from Magneto because Xavier throws the rock, and Magneto is very congratulatory.
Yeah,
he's just like, "Good job, Xavier. You threw a rock.
A fine hit.
Excellent, you did it."
Yeah.
But honestly, like it's just a stupid. He just threw a rock, but it made me think about how Xavier has sort of been really resourceful during all of these scenes. Like I don't know, it's just been striking to me.
He's not
all
wearing
of the
that
Savage Land scenes that he's just like doing stuff.
Yeah, he's not wearing that pseudo military garb that he always wears for nothing.
That like onesie.
Yeah, the onesie that has like all those flak, like I don't know,
it's like he's
the
a
pockets and
parachuter
everything
or something.
Yeah, that's it. He's got that. But he's always wearing that.
Yeah.
It's just it's nice to know it's not just for looks.
It's not just for
I
looks.
guess that's his to-go look. I guess he's not wearing that in the mansion to dinner.
He just wants to remember his past as
parachuter. But they get up there, and the plane's still intact. Did the plane also crash during the avalanche? I don't remember from episode 1.
Yeah, I also don't. That was a long time ago. Is that the very first episode of the season that we see them crash or whatever? They don't crash. They land.
They land. They get out. He's like, "You had words with me."
Each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the avalanche, so that damaged the plane.
But anyway, they think it's okay because the plane's still good, but all the mutates are there.
They're there.
Literally all of them. I guess this is the first time we've seen Lupo. I don't remember seeing Lupo before of the mutates.
Which one's Lupo?
The wolf.
Oh yeah, I don't think I had seen him.
We've seen each one of them in bits and pieces, but this is the first time Lupo's been there.
Reptar or whatever his name is.
No, Reptar's Rugrats. This is Amphibious.
We've seen Amphibious. We've seen Vertigo.
Yeah. Amphibious gets a lot of lines for somebody who talks like an amphibian.
He sure does. Anyway, so they're all waiting, and that's just sort of a theme, right?
How is Amphibious not dead from the cold? Like, he's an amphibian. I think that's like a...
Maybe he only looks like an amphibian. Maybe he's
You think he's still warm-blooded?
He's a warm-blooded amphibian lookalike.
Yeah. Yeah, the mutates always kind of confuse me. I'm like, I know they're mutates.
Because the deal is that
Magneto
made them
Yeah,
out of
whatever that means.
people.
I don't know. Maybe it was like a fly situation where there was a toad
They mutated him.
and a regular person.
Do you think it's like a Ninja Turtles kind of a situation where there's a...
Could be something like that.
Mutated.
Yeah. But you're right. Like, every time they turn a corner,
Mm-hmm.
every time Magneto or Xavier turned a corner in the Savage Land, there was one mutate just
yeah.
waiting, just knowing they're coming across that bridge, knowing they're going to turn that cliff corner.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to... Why the Skyriders if the mutates...
That's true. They were just waiting at the top. Maybe they were stalling them. Maybe they were just trying to give them a false sense of security.
You know who gets
throws
used?
a rock at you, just take a dive.
Yeah.
Let them keep going up to
okay.
the top.
So maybe Xavier and Magneto aren't as resourceful as we thought. It was all
an
plan.
elaborate show.
Yeah. It's a psychological play.
Yes.
Vertigo gets a lot of play.
Boy, she's like the power player for these 2 episodes.
And all she does is make somebody feel dizzy, and later that seems to do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, if you can still kind of walk and focus on what you need to do,
yeah,
what's your
you
power?
Kind of you can stumble along. I didn't understand because when Xavier and Magneto first see them, and Vertigo's gonna like take them down, Magneto says, "Don't look in her eyes."
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that that's really been a thing before. Like, I think she just makes people wobbly.
She says, you speak as if you have a choice. And I want you to remember that line.
That is a good line.
That
There's
you
a lot of
speak
good lines.
as if you have a choice. Yeah.
So, Len Wein, good writing. Who knew?
So
I wanted to ask you,
the
very first thing that we see in the Savage Land is these like weird pseudo dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
What's your professional dino fan
my
opinion?
My professional. I was thinking like, oh, that's pretty nice. The the land, the time forgot kind of imagery. But then later they get a bit goofier, and then they're attacked by a sauropod of some sort, and it just feels like we're back into like King Kong, like the '30s King Kong film. Where like a Diplodocus comes out and is like, I crave meat with my flat teeth.
That was I remember. I thought that when I saw that. That was crazy.
But we didn't see the total. Maybe it was supposed to be a plesiosaurus, but I'm pretty sure that was a sauropod. So
maybe it was just like a generic sea monster.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's not a dinosaur. Maybe it's a mutate dinosaur.
Maybe none of these are dinosaurs.
Hey, yeah, just like in Jurassic Park.
What do you mean, just like in Jurassic Park?
Well, because they're all mixed with DNA, so none of them are real dinosaurs.
Oh, they're just a bunch of frogs.
Yeah, they're all mutates.
They're all mutates. Oh my gosh.
Jurassic Park is the biggest budget mutate film you've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
I guess we cut to everybody's favorite throuple traveling to the circus?
Yes, they're traveling to the circus. Because I don't remember if we saw... It was a familiar line, but I don't remember if we actually saw it in the previous episode.
Right, it's Cyclops being like...
No, Jean puts a tape in the tape deck of the X-Jet.
Yeah.
And we hear Morph.
Uh-huh. Basically
asking for help. Like he's sending some distress thing to try to
Leave me alone!
Someone's coming to get me. And so, of course, Wolverine needs to go and rescue him because they're besties.
I know he hasn't been in this season a lot, but I was very tired of Morph. As soon as we heard his recording, I'm like, you know what? I don't really care about Morph. I wasn't young enough to be like, Morph! So, like, when I see him now, I'm like, gosh, that voice and his powers and that, like, like, it just...
Yeah, it's a weird choice to make him as annoying as he is.
It wears on me. But he's playing, I guess you go to the circus to see a one-man show of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
That's why I go to the circus.
And only just, like, the beginning of the story.
The beginning and also a grand conclusion.
Yeah, because he turns into Mr. Hyde. Though it's...
I love how hammy he is being in this scene, though.
In the Dr. Jekyll,
in the
Mr. Hyde
Dr. Jekyll
scene?
thing, because it's... Yeah. I guess we immediately know it's Morph? We pretty much know it's Morph.
I think we're supposed to know,
because he's going to change into Jekyll, but he's just like, I have in my hand. He's just so hammy. I love it. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to the circus, the traveling circus for, 5-star But he turns his hide. I'm pretty sure that's the design that is Mr. Hyde in the Marvel comics. The villain Mr. Hyde. So
yeah,
that was a fun one.
that is fun.
He rips the costume and everything. They walk in to go talk to Morph like backstage. Nobody seems to notice that Mr. Sinister's just standing there, not even in like shadow.
This is before they even go to the back of it. Like they are waiting in front of the stage, and they're like, "Let's go backstage and find." And
Sinister's just in the wings.
He's just like,
I was waiting for my cue, but this is better.
But they go back there, and they do not take a hint. Holy cow!
No, he like physically puts his finger to his lips, says shush, and they're just like, Morph, what is wrong?
What's wrong, Morph? We're here to save you from
You sent a secret message. Are you still working with Mr. Sinister?
And then finally he just morphs back into himself and he's like, guys, you have to go. He's listening. And they're like, it's okay. It's okay, Morph. We're here for you. And he's like, leave. And they won't do it.
And then it's Gorgeous George who shows up first, right? Yeah, the liquidy guy.
Oh, yeah.
The liquidy stretch guy.
I feel like he is a lot better in these 2 episodes than I've seen him before. He has a lot of like quippy little one-liners that I kind of dig.
He didn't realize he was so punny.
He's got it.
What does he say when it's like, I can't even remember, like, what a stretch this will be, or
it's like
quite the reach.
I'll go to great lengths. I think it was
it.
To do whatever to like stop.
And then he stretches.
But
anyway, it's the first time we've seen Sinister and the Nasty Boys in a while.
Yeah.
So.
And honestly, I wasn't as unhappy to see Sinister as I would have expected. I was just sort of like, hey, it's Sinister. What's going on?
It's funny because like Sinister and the Nasty Boys like together. Mm-hmm. They seem just to like working with each other. Like they seem to have like a good working relationship.
Positive working environment.
Sinister compliments them a lot. He's like, "Thank you, George. Well done." And when he's in trouble, he's like, "Ruckus!" And Ruckus just jump. Like they all just seem to have a good working relationship, as opposed to like other villains who are always like slapping their henchmen around.
It's true.
So
you gotta give it to Sinister. He's a good boss.
So a very extended fight scene where. I don't know. It just kind of goes on too long because a lot of it is like you think Wolverine's knocked out, but then he wakes up and then he fights and then he's knocked out again.
Yeah, it is a little protracted for this early in the episode, I think. And especially when you know it's a foregone conclusion, like they're being captured. It doesn't have to be.
But also on Sinister's side, all they leave with is Jean. Like he wants Jean and Cyclops, and he's like, "No, Jean's fine enough. It's fine." Yeah,
that was surprising. I think he's a little gun shy when it comes to Cyclops.
Yeah,
I think like he swoops in and he's like, "I'm gonna get ya," but then he gets blasted and he's like, "Oh right, I hate this. Get me out of here."
Not a lot of the Nasty Boys have lines outside of Gorgeous George's puns.
Yeah.
I guess Ruckus. Ruckus talks a lot. Yeah, he'll say stuff like, "You better watch your mouth." Mine.
That's right. Yeah.
And then he kisses Wolverine.
Then they just kiss, and then that's a happy ending for everybody.
All right. So then we go back to the Savage Land.
Yeah, we're back to the Savage Land, and we see Kazar
and Zabu.
Yeah, Zabu. Yep. Some good names. They're lurking. Yeah. They're like following behind the mutates and Xavier and Magneto.
And they have a plan, so they go find 3 Triceratops and scare them into a 3 Triceratops stampede.
Which I don't think just like run for your lives.
Yeah, I don't know if like 3 Triceratops are like, nah, we're all right. And then like I know Zabu is like supposed to be smart, but you know who would kill a saber-toothed tiger? A Triceratops.
Come on.
There's a reason why there aren't a bunch of mammals during the dinosaur times. So it just seemed like, I don't know, maybe put more Triceratops there and then a bigger noise.
Yeah.
Or just something.
Something to alarm them.
Yeah.
What's Kazar's thing? Does he talk to animals? Is he just like a mountain man? What's his deal? He just is in the Savage Land.
I don't know. There's a 90s Kazar series I keep meaning to read, and I haven't. So that's all I can say on that.
There was something about the way that he was acting that it felt like he was somehow communicating with animals a couple times.
Probably. I mean, Zabu seems to just know what's going on all the time.
Right, yeah. He talks to him.
So, I mean, if I talked to my dog
doing...
Sophie, I was like, come here, she would, but I don't know if she would totally grok the plan of like, okay, we're going to chase the Triceratops, and then we're going to
I go this way.
Yeah. Zabu's, but Zabu's a cat, so.
The interesting thing about Kazar in this whole scenario is that he is not aware of all of the different, like, arrangements with the people and stuff. He just thinks everybody who has a mutation, like the mutates, is just more of these mutate people
also
who have like taken over the Savage Land. What
I like about him, and we'll see a few times, is that he's really just out there for himself and his people. He's not a team player.
Oh yeah. He'll accept help and stuff, but he won't really give help very much.
They use the Triceratops to scare away the mutates and everything, and then it's funny because Amphibian's like, the master will not be pleased, and
oh yes, this whole time we have a lot of talk about the master, and we don't really know who the master is.
I wonder who it is. And then Magneto and Xavier are like, thanks for that. He's like, shut up, you stupid idiots. My name's Kazar. Get me to the Citadel. I saved you to kill you.
Yep. And then Xavier, in his Xavier way, steps in and is like, how could we help you? We're just here to help.
Mutants and humans are the same.
Because Kazar knows Magneto, right? He knew Magneto from before.
Yeah, Magneto built the Citadel. Magneto created the mutates. It's funny because Kazar's like, this is your fault. And Xavier's like, your current predicament is not Magneto's fault. And I'm like, it's a little bit his fault.
It's a lot.
He built the Citadel. He built the mutates. I mean...
We have a little bit of philosophy there because Magneto says something about how he created the mutates for like good or something. And Xavier says something about, we have a long history of trying to improve people or help people and real screwing it up. So
yeah, Magneto's like, nope, over my head.
I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Thanks.
Yep.
But they decide they're going to go help. And so they...
Oh, agree. Wow. And I guess we cut back to the mutates. The Nasty Boys and Sinister fight still going on even after that. Like, that's how... no wonder it felt so long.
Right. Because they haven't taken them off.
But Wolverine comes back awake and fights some of them. He lets Cyclops down, so they get Jean. They get in the plane, they go.
Well, but wait, you're skipping a cool part, because Wolverine... Everybody doesn't have their powers, but Wolverine...
No, you're skipping ahead.
Am I skipping ahead? Never mind.
The fight between... Cyclops, Jean, and Wolverine and the Nasty Boys at the circus is still going on
at the circus,
after this.
That's right.
That's why it felt like it was so long, because it had an act break.
Yeah, and then they're still there. But they're sort of captured, and then they get loose again, and then they get captured again, and then they take... Yeah.
So when they fly away, there's a cool, like, anime-style shot of Cyclops trying to blast at the plane, where, like, the camera kind of pans out and the it's like... It really feels like somebody was inspired by an anime they were watching. Oh, yeah. Because it's a lot more dramatic in that way. Like, the camera's panning out, you see Cyclops.
Kind of with the, I don't know, not forced perspective, but like that kind of thing where like...
That camera movement and everything, It's a cool shot of Cyclops. And then we cut back to Magneto, Xavier, Kazar going up into the Citadel, into the secret paths. There's a lot of talk. They ran into that sauropod of some sort that was very attacky, but then it was fine.
Really harsh.
They sneak into...
I love how he gets rid of him, because Kazar goes and like jumps on the thing, and then he just is sort of almost like, hey, look over there. Look over there.
Yeah.
And then it just is
He's
like,
I'm
just going to go over there.
I hadn't tried looking over there.
I shall go over there.
Yeah. And then science still believes my brain is in my butt.
Oh my gosh, is that true?
No, that was a thing that people thought about I think the Stegosaurus, I remember being one of the prime candidates.
Like I do remember that. That's so dumb. Why would they think
like
that?
It was so dumb that it needed like two brains, like one in his head and one in his butt to keep its tail.
Yeah, that's a dumb thing to think.
Not a thing.
Those people are dumb.
Magneto has a secret passage, but guess what? Everybody knew about the secret passage.
They already knew.
So he just had a passage.
Found. And so now who do we get introduced to but the weirdest little guy?
Brainchild,
who is just...
I forgot about Brainchild.
Morph was hamming it up. This guy just lives hamming it up. He was
he's got one of those...
He rolled his R's, Eric.
Yeah. He's got a high pitched voice. He was not played to be taken seriously.
No,
In this.
oh my gosh. I love that he also introduces himself. Yeah. Oh. I don't know who it is, if it's Xavier or Magneto, but one of them is like, "You're the master?" He's like, "No, don't you say his name."
I know. If I was him, I'd be like, thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for thinking I could take on such a role.
But no, it's not me. In my notes, my only thing that I say is brainchild. Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a whole deal. But then, pretty quickly, Sinister is just
Captures
there.
them. Yeah. They're like tied up to those weird like plant tentacle things in the walls. And Sinister shows up and Magneto just throws shade right away. He's like, Sinister, I've heard the name. I'm not impressed. Yeah. I love it.
The teaming up of Magneto and Xavier. They just have a lot of like there's no enmity between them this whole time because I guess there just doesn't need to be. It just feels
they got no powers. There's a savage world. There's no sentinels in the savage land.
Yeah, they're just like, you know what? It's him and me against you, Sinister. We're just like a good team. And Sinister tries a couple times. A couple times he's like, oh well, would Magneto care if I was hurting you? And it's just sort of like, I mean, yeah, he would. He probably would.
You're not gonna split us up, bruh.
We're buddies.
You know. Yeah, if Sinister was any forward thinking, he'd be like, you know what? This whole Jean Scott thing's not working out. I've got Magneto and Xavier here. I'll just take their DNA and make some kind of super magnetic psychic child.
Some crazy super child. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Make that weird, creepy seed thing out of their whatever.
Stomachs.
But I mean, it does seem like his plan has evolved a little bit because he says something about making an army of super mutants.
Army of super mutants, yeah. It's
and
not
he's gonna,
just
take everybody's powers and put them in everybody else. Yeah. So it's like everybody's got all of the powers, which seems unsustainable to me.
Sinister goes back and forth, not just on this show, but in general. Like, sometimes his plans make a lot of sense, and sometimes they're just mud. So it's nice when there is something so obvious as like, I'm building an army of super mutants and then we'll take over the world and mutant kind will be great because of super mutants. It's like, okay, I get that.
Yeah, I can follow that.
But so they're like, Sauron, use your powers on them, and they're like, no, we won't. And Sauron says, you speak as if you have a choice.
Yes.
And I'm just like, come on, Len Wein. So I don't know. The show does that every now and then. That's very if Chris Claremont was writing this, I'd believe it. Like everyone was like, every character, no matter if they even talk to each other or not, would say, "Bang, you're dead," or they would refer to somebody as a body. And it's just like if somebody's like, "Oh, a body could get used to this," it'd be like, "Oh, everybody's saying this." So. I didn't know Len Wein had that thing. He's like, oh, that's a good line. I'm going to also make Sauron say that. All the mutates say you speak as if you have a choice. It's their favorite thing to say. Note. I created Wolverine. Confused
me about the thing with Vertigo because I was just like, it felt like they were doing a mind control thing.
Yeah, she just makes people dizzy.
Which like
Sauron can mind control.
She seems to use to very good effect. But you know.
Hey, this is the first time Sauron speaks. We've seen him once before.
Yeah, we saw him like come and snatch somebody.
Didn't he take She-Ra?
Not She-Ra. Shara?
Shara, sorry.
I think it's Shara.
I got my silly names confused. It's not She-Ra, it's Shara.
She-Ra is the princess of power, Eric.
I'm sorry, I got those confused.
She's not silly.
Yeah,
so
sorry. I guess it doesn't help that I've never watched whatever that show is.
She-Ra?
Battle Masters? No, the other one. Where she's from. Is she not from He-Man?
She's not from He-Man. She's like a sister show.
Oh, so who's He-Man's girlfriend?
Excuse me, Teela.
Wife?
Teela is the general of the army for his kingdom.
I'm sorry, I haven't watched He-Man.
Eric.
Sorry that I assumed an 80s cartoon just had the girl be the girlfriend.
No, listen, actually, it was very...
It was progressive?
This is a real...
No, teach me about He-Man and She-Ra.
I've been showing my son Weston
Mm-mm.
The
new
the
stuff?
original show.
Oh,
from
okay.
the 80s. And it's shocking how not gross and sexist it is. Like
All right.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, looks like I'm the one who needs to check my preconceptions.
Are.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
So anyway, Sinister's girlfriend Vertigo shows up. Just kidding. So, because Vertigo's a mutate. They're all that group is mutates. I don't know, like Magneto was just creating a whole bunch.
But hang
like
on,
he created a Frogman.
Wasn't Vertigo with is it the Nasty Boys? I hate saying that.
No, they're the
Wasn't she
Nasty
with them in the
Boys,
previous
Hillary.
episode?
They're the Nasty Boys. It's not one of those.
Boys?
Yeah.
Oh, they're all boys.
Yeah,
not like
they're all
X-Men.
boys.
Not like
it's
X-Men,
funny they're called the
where
Nasty Boys, but they're all played like people in their 40s. Like they're making dad jokes, but they're the Nasty Boys. It's just like, come on, Dad.
Well, that's just another dad joke.
I think Sinister's only crime is that he loves to laugh.
I love
because
it.
every time he does something, he just starts laughing. Anytime he's like controlling somebody's mind, or he's stealing their DNA, or he's like kidnapping somebody, he's just laughing.
He's just got a weird sense of humor, you know.
Yeah.
He just needs to.
Did Apocalypse will like get on a soapbox, but he won't laugh too much. Like he will. He's had an evil laugh.
Some kinds of things, but mostly,
right.
I think he's more.
I feel like
a grand.
Yeah, Sinister seems to be out of the Magneto, Apocalypse, and him. It seems like Sinister's the laughing guy.
Well, I think Sinister also sort of acts like he's friends with the X-Men. Like there's a certain amount of like, familiarity, you know? Like he's like, here we are again, you guys.
That's a bit forward thinking of like Sinister's character.
Material.
Because like Sinister in the comics right now, like you read something like Hellions, that's how he's played. That he's like chummy with everybody right before he stabs him in the heart.
He just wants to have fun. Hey, how does it feel to be able to just cancel things by liking them?
It's a great power that I
really
hate. Yeah, Hillary's referring to recently I was on Comic Book Coffee Break over on How's Things. I did a Comic Book Coffee Break with Nick Gunning on his podcast, How's Things. And we talked about our favorite comics, and I mentioned I was really enjoying Hellions more than any Reign of X,
just
post-House
really
of X stuff.
Just a real
and I was like, because I love it, that probably means it's not long for this world. Like, the next day I found out issue 18 was the last issue. And I was like, you know what happened one day? I walked to my friend, and his girlfriend was there, and her mom was there. And I said something like, you know what? I've decided it. Michael Crichton is my favorite author. And she just looked at me, and she's like, oh, you know what? He died.
Oh my
and I was like, what? What are you talking about? And so, like, I had to go on, and he had died only, like, a month or two before that. And, like, I just didn't know. And even though it happened before I said it, I felt like somehow,
retroactively,
I caused it.
You caused it.
And it was like, this was the first time I said it out loud. The first time I decided it. I was like, I've been reading a lot of his books lately, and I'm just going to say it. He's my favorite author. Oh, well, good news, you killed him. You
killed him with your love.
Ugh.
That's the kind of thing that Sinister would do.
He would be laughing hysterically.
He would kill someone with his love.
So we go back to Wolverine. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to. I don't know if it's. Yeah, it is. Morph tries to stop Sinister before the scene switch because he spends this entire episode being like, "I'm being mind controlled. No, I'm gonna fight. No, I'm being mind controlled." Yeah. But he like tries to go after Sinister. He doesn't really get it. But he has a good line. He says, better to die in X-Men than to live as your slave.
Yeah. And then, well, good news. You're going to die, Morph.
He's going to die.
Wolverine and Cyclops show back up at the mansion. It's funny because Sauron, the whole plan that Sinister has is Sauron will mind control Xavier into calling the X-Men to bring the X-Men there so he can capture them. And Xavier's like, no, I won't. And he's thinking about all his X-Men as Sauron is mind controlling him. But then Sauron does it.
Yeah,
he's able to do it.
Because he doesn't have his powers. He's just like a regular dude.
Right. But then Xavier's still able to... Oh, right. He doesn't have his powers. Yeah. Right. It's all connecting now. I was thinking that was silly, but he didn't have his powers, and that's why Sauron was able to work.
It's impressive that he held off as long as he did.
His brain, it's muscle memory. It's just not muscle power.
Yes. He's just like fighting it off. Fight.
So, yeah, Xavier calls, and Gambit is just like... As Cyclops and Wolverine is like, look, it's the professor. He's here. He's calling.
We found him.
But Gambit's so excited that Professor X is calling and that he can't wait to tell Wolverine and Cyclops. He's like, you'll never guess who.
Well, but
It's just
it is cute. Yeah, he's like, that's what we found.
Such an excited Gambit that I don't think has ever he's just so
they've been
happy.
looking for him for this entire season. They've been like, where's the professor? I like that when he calls, they say that it's like his special code or something, so we know that it's definitely him. I thought that was cool. But Beast still doesn't buy it. He's like, he's
just like, how about you guys come to the Savage Land?
He's like, I don't know about this. And then Cyclops and Wolverine come on the jet, and they come to like where the office is or whatever. And Beast and Cyclops at the same time are like, we need to talk.
Yeah. You?
I loved it.
If you're from it, I've got. But and then they realize it's a trap, and Cyclops is like, well, let's buckle up. We're going in.
We're going into the trap. It's happening.
Yeah. Disappear into the mist for to be continued.
To be continued.
Yeah. Whole team except Jubilee? She's not even mentioned.
We didn't see Jubilee at all.
Do you think she visits her foster parents, or do you think she's just cut off all connection with them?
That's a good question.
But she doesn't go to school.
Well, I mean, it makes less sense in things like this where there's like one kid and it's not like a school for children.
Right. So I guess I usually just assume she is visiting her foster parents.
Yeah, I guess she must because she's just not there sometimes. She must just
she could make friends.
And come back.
We just never see her social life. So, anytime it's her social life, she's blown up an arcade machine.
I like in X-Men Evolution where there is a school in town. They just go to that school.
Yeah, the Bellevue? No, wait, that's from Saved by the Bell.
No,
what's Bellevue?
Saved by the Bell is Bayside.
Right. What's Bellevue? You know what? That's a prison.
Bellevue sounds right. I think it is Bellevue because I think they do kind of play with that a little bit because there's like the...
You know what? There is a Bellevue Elementary? Look, it doesn't matter.
The point
it's
is,
probably
I like
something.
That there's a school in the town.
There's a Bellevue Elementary in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So I guess that's where I'm thinking she's going.
She's taking a plane. Not the X-Jet because they're using that.
So that's episode 1, just kind of like place setting.
Yeah, setting up a lot of like what we're gonna have to deal with in the next one.
Some fighting between Wolverine and stuff and the Nasty Boys, and then setting it up to capture them. Sinister dialogue. It's all it's fine.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. I think knowing that there's a part 2 coming, you're just sort of like, yeah, I'm in this. Here we go.
Yeah, sure. And X-Men, it starts back up with the X-Men going through the clouds and then finding out they've got no powers.
Yeah, they land. I love when they land. They go right to where the Xavier's plane is.
Yeah.
And Wolverine's just like, not his best landing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, they know he's okay, so they can joke about the situation.
Yes, they've seen his face. He's not dead gruesomely inside the airplane.
Yeah, because Bro can't lift it. That's how they realize they don't have their power. She can't lift it. And then Gambit's like, well, first we charge the card, which he said before in previous episodes. So maybe that's a Mike Eaton thing.
It's like he's expecting to be able to do it. And then
he's like, oh no! He's very concerned.
I can't charge the card.
And then Cyclops is almost upset his powers are gone instead of being like, I can see!
Yeah. And then like you just have him, just like you just see his whole face for this whole episode, and it's just so weird.
It's strange. It's nice when he puts his visor back on even when he doesn't need it, because it's like, all right, thank goodness.
I wonder if there's pressure when you have to like show what he looks like under the mask. If it's
to make him like the most handsome guy in the world or something.
I don't know. Like what does he look like? I don't know. It seems like that would be stressful.
The Nasty Boys and the Mutates show up. It's both of them.
I think it's both of them. Yeah, because they
which seems overkill for like but that still seems overkill for like 5 people who don't have powers.
Right, because they know that the mutates in them know that they don't have the powers.
But Wolverine.
Why do the Nasty Boys have Nasty Boys? Is that it?
They're wearing those belts.
Oh, I missed that.
Give them their powers.
So they can still
Sinister had pointed that out, and then one of the Nasty Boys is like, "We've got precautions," and then points at the belt, which is funny because
like that would be a plot point to like try to get a belt.
Yeah, that never happens.
No.
To get a belt or to take off the belts.
Yeah.
Like what would happen to Gorgeous George if he lost his powers? Would he just drip away?
Well, here's another thing, because we find out that they've lost their powers, but Beast Nothing.
Well, yeah, because Beast still has like all that muscle and everything. What if he was just like super dumb? He's like, oh no, my intelligence was my power.
I didn't know.
Wolverine reveals that he still's got his claws, but then they can't really do it because you have to explain like blood loss and everything, and I guess you can't do that on Fox Kids.
Yeah, Fox
but they do
Kids
show
is not
him.
the place.
They do show him being like, ah.
Yeah,
and then
he says that they're not his mutant power or whatever, and so he can use them. But then you just have this brief.
Yeah, and then he seems a little like dizzy with using them. When Gorgeous George uses his goopy, stretchy powers on Rogue, she says, "Let go of me, you gabagoop."
You gabagoop. That sounds like a Southern thing. You're in North Carolina. Go say gabagoop to somebody. See if they look at you funny.
Well, it's a dish.
What?
It's an Italian dish.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Right?
Is gabagoop?
Hold on.
That sounds like nonsense.
Gabagool is a dish.
Oh. What's gabagool?
Yeah, gabagool is like a capicola.
Let's see what Google says about gabagoop.
Oh, that's how we really? Gabagool is just capicola.
You're just saying words.
Capicola is a meat.
Very
All right. Anyway, so I don't know what a gabagoop is.
I guess maybe she just.
Or she's saying you gob of goop? I heard gabagoop.
Oh, it could be gob of goop. It could be.
Who knows? Anyway, the X-Men get captured except for Wolverine. He falls down. Does he get on a pterodactyl or fall in the water?
He just falls into the
I literally just watched this like 10 minutes ago. So I can't remember.
What happens? He just falls. Yeah, because Vertigo is like pushing towards him, and he backs off into the. But I thought she was gonna push him off the edge, but no, he jumps off because he wants to like get away and fight another day, which I thought was cool.
So Wolverine still has his sense of smell, even though he doesn't have his powers.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true.
But I guess if your body mutate, your body would have to, like, it's not a power, your body would have to mutate. Like, your olfactory would have to be mutated.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess if we're keeping Beast with his body the way it is, that would
he can
make
still
sense.
physically smell, like, his body is still physically mutated
able
enough.
To smell. Sure. Okay. I'll accept that.
So, and I guess that's a raptor that shows up to attack.
Yeah,
it's very
really big. It was
there
like
is
too
a very
big to
big
be a raptor, but too small to be a T-Rex.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were totally going for. But then a T-Rex does show up.
Because Wolverine is running through the jungle, trying to get away from these guys who are like flying after him. Is that a song?
Yeah, CCR.
Very well. And then he bumps into
Kazar. And Zabu. And he's
Next
also
time
like, you're a
cat,
mutate.
will you remind me about that
to name him Zabu?
Yeah.
All right. An orange cat or a yellow cat.
Yeah.
And again, Kazar's first thing is, you're working with the master! He's like, I've got no master. It's like, really?
Interesting. I mean, none of the other guys ever deny that they have a master, so I guess
That's
that is
true.
convincing enough.
Wolverine says he's here to find Sinister and rip him a new navel.
Yeah, that was... Yikes.
I know. It seems like that's more grotesque than what you want to say. Like,
somehow
I'm gonna cut
is, you know? Like, I mean, if you just break it down, it's just like he'd like stab him or something, like, and make a little hole.
He wants to put his claws in his belly button.
No! Oh,
right? That's the thing. That's what makes it gross.
Yeah, it's very.
So it's just like
it's unsettling.
You're trying to appease the censors, and you come up with a phrase that's just like, "Gah, Wolverine."
Yeah.
Rip him a new navel.
Maybe he wants a new navel. Maybe it's a body art thing. You don't know.
I have 2 belly buttons.
You only have one.
An innie and an outie.
But so then Kazar and Wolverine decide that they're going to team up, and Wolverine is going to help him, like, no questions asked, just immediately. It's like, I'm going to help you. And they get on. Now, I'm not, as I was writing it, I was like, Eric's going to tell me this isn't true. I said a flying dinosaur.
It's a flying reptile.
Not a dinosaur.
Yeah. No, it's not a dinosaur. It's a cousin.
It's a cousin of the dinosaurs.
Yeah. Like, you wouldn't call, I don't know. You wouldn't say like a reptile. You wouldn't say a crocodile is a bird. You wouldn't say a crocodile is a snake. Snakes are their own species.
I am going to say it. I'm going to say that crocodiles are birds. From now on, that's the hill I'm dying on.
Look, here's what I wrote. I just wrote the word horny, and I don't know why. I guess I thought some of the characters were playing it that way.
Did you
but
mean
who?
that? Because there are horns on like the dinosaurs.
No. One of the characters, I think, was coming across that way, and I don't know who it was.
They do all have kind of like that smarmy way of talking, like the way that they're bad. They're all sort of like, oh, I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna make
Hillary,
you a
they're
new
not
name.
bad. They're all just drawn that way. I don't know why I wrote, but I guess somebody once you get to the Citadel
was being
came across as being very like into whatever they were doing, and I don't know if it was sinister.
I'm gonna guess it was sinister because that's just sort of his like baseline thing.
But I don't think it was. Maybe it was one of the nasty boys.
Sinister. Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I wrote that and completely forgot it. I really should have put a descriptor there.
So I don't know.
So Xavier's plan is, oh my gosh, I can't keep there's so many characters in this episode.
There's a lot. I basically just stick to like the main characters, and then there's just like everybody else.
Sinister is taking Rogue to use her power because the thing is he combined Magneto's power.
Yeah, he
gave it to Vertigo.
And I think he took it away. I think he took some away from Magneto because later he's like trying to do something and it's hard for him.
Yeah.
So I think he's taking powers from mutants and giving them to his mutants.
But Vertigo's new power is that she can blast her Vertigo power?
Yeah.
How is that different than just a wave of Vertigo power?
Yeah, and then she was just like blasting the X-Men in their little cage.
Yeah.
And it just looked the same.
They're gonna capture Rogue and
But wait,
they're gonna experiment on Rogue
before that,
yeah,
there's a scene.
Rogue is like, I'm frightened. I don't know how to fight back without my powers.
I'm frightened. And Gambit is holding her, and he's like, I'll take care of you.
He says, Gambit has never said this to anyone.
Yep.
But Gambit loves you.
He couldn't say, I love you. He had to say, Gambit loves you.
Gambit loves Rogue.
This Gambit guy really loves you. But then they kiss. And it was
because they don't have powers.
We had a Twitter thing. Somebody else liked this, so shut up. I'm not the only one.
I do think you were the only one.
At Terrence X33 says, Gambit's moment with Rogue after they lost their powers tugged at my little 10-year-old heartstrings at the time.
Yeah.
It tugged at my 36-year-old heartstrings, so I was there for it. I was there.
You're 36? I always forget you're so much older than me.
Oh, shut up. You are the same age as me.
Not right now. Right now, I'm 35.
It's coming. That can't be right.
No, because you're turning 36.
You're 36.
No, I'm turning 36. You were born in 85, right. Hillary. I'm born in 86.
Because listen, hang on. So when are we the same age?
We're the same age.
Because
never.
I'm going to be 30. Yes, we are. I'm going to be 37. I'm going to be 37 in June, so that can't be right.
And then I turned 36 in August.
I thought we were the same age.
No, but it's not a big difference, but you are almost literally a year older than me. That's it. We're never the same age.
Blowing my mind. I thought it was one of those things where like half of the year you're younger than me and half of the year. Okay, well, whatever. Eric.
An even year, I'm turning an even number.
That's adorable.
That's how I keep track of it. I'm like, no, it's 2022. Turning an even number.
Possibly be 36.
Yeah.
Well, now everybody knows how old I am, and it's fine.
You can cut all that out if you want. Hey, everybody, I'm 35. I'm turning 36 this year. It's kind of weird and it sucks. And I started thinking about like, what's it matter if we have World War III? I'm gonna die anyway.
Stop! Don't go down this tunnel.
So,
boy,
what happens? Wolverine shows up and does stuff. Listen, these 2 episodes, I used to really like because I thought they were big and bombastic, but I don't love them these days. I think they're fine. I think they're entertaining, but when you look at like the season 1 finale, it's pretty focused. We just need to blow up the Sentinels. We still have all the X-Men. We have a bunch of Sentinels. We have Magneto and we have like Senator Kelly and whatnot, but it's still very like you just know what's happening.
Yeah.
In this, you have the Nasty Boys, you have the Mutates, you have Sauron, you have Kazar freeing his people, you have the X-Men, you have Xavier and Magneto teamed up, you have Wolverine showing up.
There's a lot.
It's Sinister by himself. It's just, you have Morph. It's so much going on.
It's true.
And it's all because Sinister wants to create an army of mutates as super mutants.
That's the thing, because I feel like these 2 episodes have the makings of something really cool, because it's all of these really disparate things, and then they like come together, because you have like the scenes where 2 things are happening, and then Sinister's in both places. Like it all kind of comes together. But yeah, it's not really
I don't know if this is something that would be solved by the X-Men themselves are not in it a lot. You have Jean, Scott, and Wolverine together for a little bit, and then they get the X-Men, but then the X-Men are captured, so there's another lot of Wolverine. So it's really like the X-Men aren't, there's not a lot of like the X-Men are reuniting with Xavier, and now it's this like crazy, we made it, we waited 13 episodes to get here.
But it's coming.
There's a big fight.
It's coming. We haven't gotten there yet, but there is a moment that feels very...
So Morph and Xavier, when they're getting attacked by Vertigo, they're somehow able to focus enough of their attention to get to the machines and start just pulling out wires, and that's what causes things to explode. Yeah. Which seems like poor craftsmanship on whoever built that computer, that biocomputer.
They just, maybe they got some of the right things to give them their powers back, and then they also got some of the things that blow things up.
It's what happens when you don't click eject USB drive before you pull it out.
Yeah,
that's why you need to always eject it on the screen.
Right order, you need to blow up the Citadel. Everybody knows.
And so everybody gets their powers back. Xavier's back. Everybody's.
And then we have the music. The music comes in. The X-Men music. Yeah. You got the dun 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 dun. Yeah. I thought it was really cool.
It's funny that the music is so fun a lot of times, but during the previously ons, it's like the music was made on the day.
They were like, we need music. Go.
Yeah. But it's a pretty, like, it's one of those big, like, you see Beast fighting this person, it cuts to Rogue fighting this person, and then you see that the person Rogue was fighting now fighting this person, which is always fun. But again, there's just so much.
There is a lot
going on. I mean, Lupo doesn't have any lines.
And all of the mutates and, like, everybody all together. Yeah, it's everybody.
Everybody's using their powers and, looking cool. Jean is just in the corner, putting up a psi shield to protect the professor.
Figure, yep.
And it's just like, Jean, everybody.
There she is.
Jean.
Well, in the first episode, when they were first getting captured, she lifts Cyclops' visor, and he goes after Sinister. That is it. That is her contribution. Yeah. She is a telekinetic nothing in this show.
Oh boy. Yeah, she just, I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't give her crap in this show as much as I do, but it's so frustrating because she's not like a weakling when she's not the Phoenix. Before like, she's still psychic. I don't know. It's still, I mean,
it doesn't feel like it's an arc. Like, it doesn't feel like we're watching the growth of Jean or something. It just seems like she's just planted in there. These are her limits. Whatever. And
it's not like she's always like, if only I was stronger. And then when the Phoenix happens, she's like, I have the power. Yeah. That's from She-Ra? Just kidding. That's from Transformers.
What?
Just kidding.
Oh,
that's from G-Man. Hillary, again, you're a year older than me. I was not watching these 80s shows.
Okay. You're pop culture stunted. That's all.
Yeah, I missed Voltron, Thundercats, He-Man, Transformers, and G.I. Joe. Those, like, 5 80s things that no one can let go of. I just, like, did not watch as a kid.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad for you.
Turtles, Shirt Tails.
Shirt Tails? What's that?
Yeah, it was the one with the animals. No, it was the one with the animals that live in a tree in the park.
That's Tailspin.
No, Tailspin's the one with the plane, with Baloo.
There's also a tree, I'm pretty sure. But okay. Yeah, that's the Disney one with, like, Chip and Dale and...
Yeah, they live in... Shirt Tails is a bunch of animals that live in a tree and have adventures.
Oh, well, I missed that one.
And that's not Gummy Bears. I know the difference.
Gummy Bears.
So I guess I was watching all that stuff.
Oh, well, that's fine.
As a kid, the Disney afternoon stuff.
Yeah.
The Gummy Bears.
The cute stuff. Just
anyway.
the cute stuff, not the action stuff. Got it.
Magneto fights Vertigo? He uses his power? Oh, I just thought it was a cool shot, because...
oh, right, yes.
She's using her powers, and he just covers her head in metal.
He grabs, he just, pulls her.
Yep.
Her eyes are covered. Is her mouth covered? It's very.
She's dead now. She's lying dead, covered in metal.
They forgot about her, and she suffocated, and that's the end of Vertigo.
Yeah, and then Sinister's beaten pretty easy because Cyclops is blasting him, and that's causing Sinister problems. And then it's not as big of a problem as he thought. And then Morph.
Well, he controls. Sinister has a wrist thing that controls Morph.
Right. But Morph is like, I'm going to kill them. And Xavier reminds him, he's like, no, you'll always be one of us. He's like, you're right. I am an X-Men. So then he uses his gun to blast.
Sinister. And boy, does he blast Sinister.
It just blows them up. I guess I thought it'd be a thing where all the X-Men use their powers on Sinister and he blows up.
But no.
So, no.
No, just the gun. Well, that's what Sinister gets for making a gun that could take him down.
And then he's going to... remold into himself, and Jean throws
finally does something.
Yeah, she throws all of Sinister's pieces into the wind. He's like, it'll be a while till he
forms back, and that is...
I would throw it into space.
Well, she's not strong enough for that, Eric. She's just a girl.
I guess I would put it on maybe put it in metal and shoot that into space.
Just keep it set. Just gather some pieces and just put it in a jar. And then put these other pieces in another jar.
I guess it's the Superman thing where I'm always just throw it into the sun.
Whatever it is, throw it into the sun.
Put it into the sun. Throw Sinister's remains into the sun. So.
That's the way. That is the way.
And then, even if he can survive in that heat, the gravitational pull. What's he going to do? He's stuck in the sun.
The gravity of the sun.
Nothing can. No. Not even time.
Not even time. I think time can.
Well, time gets all messed up there. Did you ever see the movie Sunshine?
In the sun? I mean, I know
because the gravity's so intense.
Well, I guess I didn't know it was that intense. Black holes have that kind of
thing. I'm basically basing what my view of Inside the Sun looks like from the movie Sunshine.
Sunshine. Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Where they have to go restart the sun.
Scientifically accurate in every way.
The sun is dimming. They have to reignite this. They have these this device that causes the cue balls to react, and that will reignite the sun to its full power.
The cue balls?
The cue balls. And so a bunch of people want to
Stop saying that that's self-explanatory.
they're on a flight into space towards the sun to restart it, and they don't know if they're coming back. And my wife would describe it as depressingly uplifting. It was very depressing. I did cry a bit when a certain character died. It was just too much.
Well, now I know someone dies.
Hilary.
Do a lot of people die?
Some buddies die. Anyway, it's a good movie. It's a very good sci-fi movie.
Okay. I'm always looking for good sci-fi movies.
Yeah, it's a little depressing. It's Danny Boyle.
If it's a good sci-fi movie, it's going to be a little depressing.
Yeah, it's depressing, but then it also kind of warms the heart a little bit at the end. We're as humanity, we can achieve anything unless it's real life, and then we're all just going to die.
Yeah. We're not going to come together for the greater good. Are you nuts?
Hey, Xavier's happy because he was like, I was always worried. The X-Men proved that without me there, they can still be a team. They've learned to be a team this season.
They're a team. I'm so
I guess
proud.
They kind of did. They handled a lot of threats without Xavier.
Yeah, but it wasn't really a thing, was it? I mean, I don't remember it being without Xavier, we're doing these things. It just was they were doing these things and Xavier wasn't there.
Well, wasn't that why certain people did stuff? That's why,
certain people did stuff.
I can't remember. Wasn't that why, certain villains did something now? Oh, that's why Mystique went after Rogue. Without Xavier
true,
there.
Because he wasn't there to protect them.
I've always really liked season 2 because I always thought it was a very character-specific season.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of each episode, right. But watching it this time, it does lose something that I never thought it lost by not being serialized.
Yeah, it's true. It does.
And and maybe that's because of the way we watch. Maybe if we were watching it just in a straight go, it would stand up a little bit better.
Yeah,
but
that's true. I think
we still did that with we did that with the first season, and you just kind of felt the forward momentum of the whole thing. At this one, it really did lack something that I never really thought it lacked until this go around.
Yeah. I think it was a smart thing to have the Savage Land thing run through. I mean, that was a good way to let there be something, since they weren't like allowed to have it be serialized.
But it's always so inconsequential. And what's happening when the Xavier Magneto stuff in the Savage Land, nothing is happening. They're just like, you could just shuffle them up and it wouldn't matter which order you watch them in, because in the end it's just, they left the plane, now they're back to the plane.
Back to the plane. Yeah, it is a shame that they didn't do a little bit more with like team building or something with the two of them.
I think a lot of the episodes are still really strong. Like, this had that Wolverine episode I liked. It had I really liked Till Death Do Us Part, and
Beauty and the Beast was good.
The Time Fugitives episode, the Rogue's Tale one. Like, there were good episodes there, but it does kind of lose something where we're like, oh no, the Sentinels are at Genosha, and now Wolverine is fighting Sabretooth, and then like it all just keeps leading on this one. Like these two episodes are really just the sequel to the first two episodes, where the Days of Future Past felt like they were leading to the big Sentinel fight, and everything was that we had seen before was leading to Days of Future Past. And
well, I mean, that's by design, because the first season was supposed to be serialized, and this season
and in this one, I guess there is the idea, like you said, like there was no like, we need to be a team because without Xavier we're not, but we can be. Like, if that theme was a little bit stronger, or something.
I think
maybe
there
if like
were ways that aren't story arc related that you could have some more cohesion to it.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess they kind of fixed that with season 3, because it's a big 5-part episode with Phoenix. And then it becomes the Dark Phoenix episode.
What did Leewald say about how it happened? I feel like it was kind of fast for them to have to adjust to not being able to do serialized.
Well, they didn't know. They didn't know that they were doing another season. They did season 1 and thought like this might be it, and then they got picked up and they were like, okay, but the studio was like, don't do serialized anymore.
Yeah.
Which is, it's always so crazy when like the thing that people liked is the thing that the studio wants you to stop because they think it's the thing that's not working.
Always. I can't tell you. I mean, they did this with X-Files. They've done this with so many things that fans are like, I want to follow this story until I die. And studios
and now,
like, we want it to be episodic so that people can just drop in.
It's gone the complete other way to like the point where it's like, please just make this episodic.
I know, that is definitely
like,
true. That is definitely true.
Like the CW superhero shows, like Flash season 1 was episodic and then sometimes had lore episodes and was like the best the Flash has ever been. And then it's just like, no, now we have one villain this whole season, and it's just like, but it's not just like every drama is basically serialized now. It's like, well, how did X-Men get it right so right the first time? Well, just do what X-Men did.
It has to be a balance. It has to be like an arc over a whole season. I mean, this is not hard. You have an arc for a whole season. You have 5 or 6 episodes that are like blop 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 blop. These are to push that arc along. You have 7 or 8 episodes that are mostly episodic, but that mention the arc. I mean, there, you're done.
Yeah, I think there's a stronger season 2 if you focus on the X-Men having to deal with without Xavier. Like, they mention it once or twice, like that Gambit episode, they bring it up at the end, like, you know, you should trust us. It was like, without Xavier, we'll have to trust each other or something. But like, if it was a little bit tighter in that aspect, I think you'd have a stronger season 2.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. But it's, I mean, it does feel like it was sort of like a figuring it out as they go along kind of a situation.
Yeah, and I guess I just didn't feel a lot of stakes in this finale for season 2.
Well, because I remember didn't feel it felt like it was like a conclusion for Xavier. But the X-Men were just coming in to save the day.
I remember watching it when I was younger the first couple times and feeling like a bit more drama from it, especially with the whole like Gambit telling Rogue I love you, because it's like, oh wow, they think they're gonna they think this is it, and so they're, you know, like that's a big emotional beat. But it just didn't, this time around it just didn't click the way it used to.
Yeah, well, I think when you're a kid, everything feels
everything's dramatic.
Expanded, you know?
Yeah.
Like, even time. I mean, you've only experienced however many years. And the
Yeah.
more years you experience, the less a year means to you. So it's like...
It's true, yeah.
Everything's compressed.
Yeah. 3 episodes feel like a whole season sometimes to you. You just
Yeah.
take everything. Like, when I first watched Smallville, like, at 14 when it was coming out, like, because of reruns and everything, I was like... I just thought there were these story arcs that went on for so long and these characters that were there. And then when we were rewatching it, I was like, this character's only in 2 episodes?
Yeah, it's wild.
But it's because you watch, like, if you're watching reruns while it's still it's just it's a completely different thing.
It's a whole different
so yeah, I mean, it's still there. I think if you show it to, like, a kid now, the drama's still there. But I was kind of bummed to not be as excited for this season closer as I used to be.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I guess I just enjoyed it. I just thought it was fun. I wasn't too invested in, like, making sure it was concluding anything. But you're right that it does have those.
Yeah, I guess there were just more, like, cool moments for the rest of the X-Men or something. I mean, again, like, Magneto covering Vertigo in that metal, or Cyclops getting that cool optic blast shot. But there you go. That was season 2.
You may be surprised to hear this, but I could have done more with Rogue and Gambit.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're not in this.
Powers.
Yeah.
It's her chance.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I know.
Whatever.
Her chance to what, Hilary?
To love, Eric. It's her chance to love.
Well, okay, but she can love without with her powers. What are you talking about?
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, so that's the end of season 2.
Yeah. All right.
We made it.
Yeah. Highlights for me. I feel like Time Fugitives is probably, like, the highlight of the season for me.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think that's
But anyway, season 3. It starts with that Death Strike episode, right, in the sewers.
Oh boy, I haven't looked forward.
Like,
I don't remember.
That's where you start the whole Phoenix saga. It's Wolverine and Deathstrike and her Reavers in the sewers.
See, this is where I am really interested to rewatch, because the Phoenix saga was completely incomprehensible to me.
Really? Yeah.
I was watching it on Fox Kids, and I would just be, like, at the whim of whatever episode they were putting on at whatever time. And so I kept seeing episodes like interminably of the Phoenix saga, but I couldn't follow it. It didn't feel like there was any arc to it or anything. So I'll be really interested to, like, watch through it, see what the heck is happening.
Phoenix Saga is it's 5 episodes of the Phoenix Saga, and then it's 4 episodes of the Dark Phoenix Saga when that happens. But then they did a few episodes, like, out of order, and they mentioned that Jean's not there. So, like, we'll have to do them in the right order.
So the Phoenix is sort of like the uniting thread,
I guess, for
the season.
It's a big season.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, yeah. So the next time we do the animated series, 2-parter, Out of the Past.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you to Prophetic Music for our theme song. You can find out more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Previously on X. And please rate, subscribe, or share this show wherever you get your podcasts. We're done with Xavier and Magneto in the Savage Land. Bye.
Okay.